Thanks everyone for joining the Road to HR Tech on a Monday, and it's August already. I can't even believe this. So that officially means HR Tech is really only a couple of months away now, and we're all kind of closing down our summers. But thanks for joining us live this morning. We had a little bit of a flat tire on the Road to HR Tech last week. I was supposed to talk to Madeline. I was really excited to talk to Madeline last Thursday, but I was flying all over the country trying just to get back home to Minneapolis. I think I was in Miami on Thursday, and that was not the plan. But here we are this morning. This is a great way to kick off the week. I've got Madeline as my guest. And Madeline, before we get going, we're going to talk about candidate management today, but will you please kindly introduce yourself and your role at Aptitude for us all?
Sure. And thank you so much for having me on the show, Jess. I'm so excited to be here.
I know. Thank you.
So I am a co-founder of Aptitude Research Partners, and we are a research firm that helps companies understand and simplify human capital management and make better decisions around their technology. So my area of expertise has been talent acquisition, everything from how candidates look for a job and search for a job to how they actually get recruited and then finally onboarding. I also cover other areas of talent management too, but I've been an analyst for a long time in this space and I'm excited to see all the change that's happening this year.
But talent acquisition is really the best, right?
It's the best.
Out of the whole talent space.
It's the best, and it's honestly the most exciting. So there's a lot of change, a lot of interesting companies that are reinventing themselves and companies that are emerging and entering this space. So it's exciting, but it can be confusing, I think, to a lot of companies to figure out what technology they need and how to make the best decisions.
I think so too. And, I blogged about this last week to sort of tee up this topic because I started as a recruiter way back in the day, and it looked way different then. And so this is a really exciting topic to me because we're sort of, moving into more of the but how does this really get done segment of this show. So on the Road to HR Tech, we decided to break up the employee life cycle and start with recruitment marketing, all of the top of the funnel talent attraction stuff, and then move into candidate management, which is where we are now and why this topic is very timely. And then we'll move into employee engagement, sort of round out the employee, the talent life cycle. So when we think about candidate management, once you've done all of the work, think about the people I've had conversations with so far, Craig Fisher and Chloe Rada, around building an employee brand. See, I did that right. Craig would be proud of me. Or an employer brand. He'd say it's really your employee brand because it should translate all the way through the employee experience. And then using advocacy to attract, and I talked to Will about the gig economy and the fact that there's actually all kinds of different talent, not just the traditional hire you might be thinking of. So it is a lot because you need tools and tech to help you, once you've attracted them to your brand, know how to deliver a proper candidate experience and bring them efficiently through the process. And it's not just about candidate experience at that point, it's about making the recruiter productive and giving them a positive experience with all of the tools that you throw at them and expect them to do their job well. So this is exciting to me, and we're going to talk a little bit about recruitment marketing platforms because this is it's not new anymore, but it's still a newish piece of technology to some people, and lots of us build them. And they look a little different everywhere you go. So what is it really?
Yeah, what the heck is recruitment marketing platform? It's interesting because I think it's becoming a very recognized term today in talent acquisition, but there's still so much confusion and misperception around what exactly it is and why a company needs it. And for us, in the way that I think about it, a recruitment marketing platform is a pre-applicant platform. It's a solution that happens before an individual actually applies for a job. And for companies that's having a mobile and SEO optimized search and apply process, there's customized and self-service landing pages that companies can create, a talent community, campaign management, job distribution, all of these things that need to happen before someone actually applies for a job to make them more strategic in how they think about talent acquisition. So to me, it's everything that happens before an ATS.
So that was kind of my first question. So it's not an ATS, but is it a CRM?
It's not. It's more than a CRM. So it's not an ATS. And the reason it's not an ATS is because the ATS has never been good at this. The ATS has never been good at anything that happens before somebody actually applies for a job. What an ATS is good at is dealing with the administrative aspect of moving someone along the process. And it's a compliance solution. Recruitment marketing is way more strategic. It helps companies plan for the talent they need and to be very proactive about thinking about finding that talent.
So we hear this analogy all the time, the parallels between talent attraction and marketing, because marketing has used these types of techniques to attract folks to their brand. Unless you're a destination brand, everybody knows Nike or Target or, you know, one of these lucky brands that doesn't have to do as much work. But so many companies are not in those shoes as the big brands. And so they do have to do work to let talent know that they hire people like them and that they're a great place to work, and they have to do some storytelling around their culture and who they are and how they operate. And a lot of the techniques they use are very similar to marketing techniques when you think about that top of the funnel and conversion approach. So it still seems like talent attraction, talent acquisition is keeping up a little bit with marketing, but now I think it's leveling out where we're seeing a lot more collaboration between marketing and talent in terms of how this works and the types of tools it takes to do it. But talent is a very unique space. And so we have platforms in order to do that. And so you've described some of the functions that a recruitment marketing platform can play. So there can be an optimized career site experience with sort of a personalized candidate experience when I come visit the site, options once I get there, not just apply or goodbye, which is the problem with an ATS. What if I'm not ready to apply, or if I don't find a job for me today, what are my other options? So nurturing a talent community is one of those. So when you think about ATS and CRM and recruitment marketing platforms, that's kind of a lot of technology. Who needs this? Just big companies with like massive applicant flow?
I think that's the perception right now, is that this is just a solution for enterprise or global enterprise. And that's certainly not the case. I think companies at all sizes need help in recruitment marketing. And the reality, and this is really eye-opening for a lot of organizations, it was eye-opening to me, is that a recruitment marketing platform actually replaces or can replace the amount a company is spending on services, on advertising agencies, on technology that happens pre-applicant, whether that's job boards or any other type of search technology. So a recruitment marketing platform is consolidating a lot of the spend that companies have for services, advertising, and technology. And it's a really strategic investment and can happen all in one platform. And mid-market companies are certainly using advertising agencies. They're certainly using job boards and other technology. So the need is there. It's just, I think, education that's not.
So what are some of the, I would imagine, I know for a fact, but let's just play it. Let's say I don't. There's lots of bells and whistles that can come with this kind of platform. And you and I could write a list of 20 right now. What are some of the things that you absolutely should be considered, because it's sort of where the market is going, where this technology is evolving, or it's just critical, kind of functionality that if you're shopping for a solution like this, or if you've got this type of need, really make sure that this is there?
Yeah, I think one thing that's been coming up more and more, and again, there's a lot of misperception around it, is AI. So when you think about the role it plays in recruitment marketing, it's not about replacing the recruiter. It's not about a robot that's coming in to help you find talent. It's about helping you make the best decisions. So when AI is used in recruitment marketing, it can help companies understand what's the best content, who's more likely to read this content, what are the right messaging that's likely to attract the types of talent that we want in our organization for the jobs that we're looking to fill. So it's very strategic, and it helps companies, just like marketing, just like AI is used in marketing, to make the best decision around the content that we have, the messaging we have, the types of communication that we're using to engage with candidates. So that's certainly one differentiator. And I think another above that, and it's not a capability, it's a way to think about investing in technology, is that it needs to be a partnership. And that's especially true for recruitment marketing. It can't just be a solution that you go out and you like these capabilities, you're filling out your RFP or your RFI, and this is a solution that has what you have for the right price. You need to think about it in terms of a partnership. So for companies, that might mean having a provider that is willing to partner with you as they grow their solution and they grow their product, to listen to how you're growing within your own organization. A company that can help you scale as you grow, a company that can provide the right services, whether those are very transactional services like providing you with the content or providing you with building out the landing pages if you need help, or even transformational services, helping you rethink your own recruitment strategy.
So tell me a little bit more about services, and this is, this is a fine balance that a lot of companies try to figure out too. Even within my own organization, technology rounded out by services. What are the types of services that would make an employer the most successful using a platform like this, but making sure that it's actually delivering what they intend to deliver, that it's measuring what's coming back, and that they're able to optimize? What are we actually talking about in terms of services?
Yeah, there's different types of services, and I think the way I think about it is really two main buckets. One are the very tactical services, like helping companies build out their landing pages, helping them be able to actually adopt the technology and not just invest in it. And then there's more transformational services, whether that's thinking about how do we make significant changes in how we structure our talent acquisition function to have the right skills to be able to support this, and to think about, how do we use analytics? How do we get the right insight? And it's very different than how you're using your ATS to be able to make the best decisions around talent. So I think when you think about services, it depends on where you're at as an organization. Everybody's at a different maturity stage, but you have to think about what you really need to within your own company. Are you a company that has no idea what recruitment marketing is? You recognize there's a need for it, but you need to really have some hand-holding as you move along in the process? Or are you a company that is pretty well established in the recruitment marketing area? You have a department, you understand what it's there for and how to use it, but you need the technology to be able to support that.
So I think that it's everything you just said. It's so critical to make sure that you leverage a platform in a way that truly meets your organization's needs. If you buy the best platform out there with all the bells and whistles because it seems like it does everything, so that must be what we need, adoption is going to be an issue because you don't, it's sort of like buying a car you have no idea to drive because it's just too high performance and it looked really pretty on the, on the showroom floor, but now you actually don't know what to do with it. I think with organizations, they really need to think about what they're trying to accomplish and what their goals are, and then make sure that technology can deliver that, but the services as well, because you should be able to automate a lot of the things that you're doing and let the platform work on your behalf. And then, as to your point, know what to do with the analytics, so you know and you can adjust accordingly, the strategy that you executed, and make adjustments along the way. But it shouldn't be so manual and intensive to try to figure out what to do with a recruitment marketing strategy and a platform that you've put in place.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I think that's a challenge most companies face. And, we've seen this 10 years ago. I mean, you worked at Jobs to Web, where companies were so impressed with all the bells and whistles of a recruitment marketing platform, but didn't understand exactly how to adopt them. So today, when you think about that investment, it's not just, again, making sure that this provider has everything that looks great. It's making sure that you have the right infrastructure in place that all of your recruiters are going to be able to actually use it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's a huge point. I was on a recruiting team once. I'll save the innocent, protect the innocent. And I mean, the company made a massive investment in a homegrown CRM, and it had all the tricks you can imagine. And I sort of watched from afar this thing being built, and I was getting sneak peeks along the way. And then we had this big reveal and this massive training, and nobody used it because we weren't sure what we were supposed to accomplish with it. That was the big problem. And then it was almost sort of too much. It did more than we needed. And so I think that's a really good piece of advice, not to overthink, or to at least start with your company and your goals in mind, and then and it doesn't require, I'm not talking about custom development and bending a platform in a way that it's not supposed to work. It's just about configuring it appropriately for your company and what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it is different than a CRM, than a customer relationship management system, or an applicant tracking system, an ATS. I try to remember in every one of these conversations to talk about measurement, because if you're not measuring and understanding what you're doing, the rest really doesn't matter. So the metrics that you're getting and understanding out of a recruitment marketing platform have got to be unique as well. What are people supposed to be paying attention to when they're looking at how they're leveraging a recruitment marketing platform?
They are very unique. And I think that's another education piece for talent acquisition professionals, is that it's not the traditional metrics you would look at for an ATS. They're typically looking at conversion rates are very big when you think about a recruitment marketing platform. How are you converting leads into applicants? And even further down the pipeline, how are you then converting when you interview someone into actual hires? Also, when you think about source of hire is obviously a big one, source of influence. How can you think about what are the right touch points that you have in place to reach out and connect with talent that you certainly would like to apply for jobs at your organization? Mm-hmm. So the metrics are different, the technology is different, and the skill set to think about how to adopt this platform is different. But I'll say, and it's interesting because when I first started studying this market, I was a little skeptical, not exactly sure what to think and how this would fit into the current talent acquisition landscape. But seeing companies use it, seeing the impact this technology has on a talent acquisition function, it's 100% transformation within an organization. It's amazing how companies go from being very reactive in how they think about talent acquisition to being very prepared, very proactive, and very empowered.
Every time I talk to a recruiter, which is a lot, which is often, but I ask them about, what is it like? I mean, it was so different when I was recruiting in both a very targeted, search firm environment, but also in a very high volume. So I've sort of experienced both ends of the spectrum, and without fail, every time a good recruiter or sourcer will say, just get me on the phone with good people. Just put me on the phone with good people. But that's kind of the whole point of this. You need some tools and technology to help you sort through the noise, get down to the good stuff, and get recruiters on the phone with those good people or sourcers. I mean, that's sort of the point, is that this is able to give you a much more targeted approach and be more successful in the attraction and sort of the conversion phases, so that you're able to be smarter with your investment, with your spend, to get those folks, through the process where you want them.
And I'd say on the flip side, it's for the candidate too. A candidate wants the exact same thing. They want to know that there's somebody on the other side. They want to know that there's a recruiter that they can actually get on the phone with. And then they're not just, going into this black hole of nothingness. So It's a solution, and I think this is unique too, which is something you don't see in a traditional ATS. It's a solution for the candidate, and it's a solution for the recruiter.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned something earlier around metrics. We, the talk, and it probably still is a little bit, but I think the conversation is changing. The talk is always around cost per applicant, cost per hire, source of hire. You just want to know, you talk to any talent acquisition leader, executive, what's my cost per hire? What's the source of hire? I need to know what the holy grail is. Right. But it's not so much that anymore, because there's multiple sources of influence. There's multiple sources of, touch points where this candidate experiences your brand before something finally converts them to an apply action. But is that the only thing that should get credit, or do you want purview to the entire landscape that really had impact in that candidate experience and helped drive them toward the apply action? You sort of want to know all of those. And I think that's why measurement out of a recruitment marketing platform is important, because you get an idea of all of the things that work, not just the one thing, which is probably your career site, but does that technically get credit, or is that where they knew they had to go to eventually apply?
And it's providing you that insight all the time. You don't have to wait till the end of the year to make a change. You can make a change every single week if you want to,
Yeah.
based on what results you're seeing.
Well, this is awesome. Thank you so much for breaking down recruitment marketing platforms. I think it is a unique concept that companies are still understanding and embracing, but more and more, as you mentioned, it's really becoming critical to help deliver a fully, rounded out sort of candidate experience and make a recruiter more productive, which is important. So in just a couple of days, I'm going to kind of continue this conversation. I'm talking to Angie Veros. She's in Greece at her family home. So this is going to be, and I'll be in
fun.
Sturgis at my mom's. So we'll go from like the bike rally in Sturgis to like sunset. It'll be amazing.
Oh, I want to tune into that one.
I know, it should be interesting. But she's one of the best sourcers, recruiters out there that there is. There's so many in our space. And we're going to talk about how, from her perspective, we're going to take, go to the recruiter sourcer perspective, how technology helps her deliver a positive candidate experience once she's sort of at that point. She's talking to good people, right? That and how technology helps humanize the talent brand and give a positive candidate experience, but also keep her productive. So that'll be next, the next topic in our candidate management segment on the Road to HR Tech, and it's on Wednesday, so just a couple of days away. It should be a good one.
Yeah, that sounds like a great one. I will definitely be listening on for that one. And it's in Greece. I wish I was there.
Yeah. I know. I actually should have just, when I was detoured to Miami last week, I should have just gone.
Just going.
We could have done this from there. It would have been great. Well, Madeline, thank you so much for getting up on a Monday morning and starting your week with me on the Road to HR Tech. That was really exciting. And you've written some great stuff about this as well. So I think there's really good resources out there from you and others for companies still trying to understand this, but sometimes just a really good conversation makes sense of it pretty fast too. So thank you so much for being my guest on the Road to HR Tech, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks, Jess.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.